Does anyone remember the Renewal Grasps? It was meta for a short time following the Witch Queen expansion, but quickly nerfed, in my opinion a little bit too harshly soon after. But now they're back, with their 40% cooldown penalty to duskfield grenades removed, and I think it's about time Stasis had some top tier builds. It's been left out in the cold for far too long. First, a reminder on what the Renewal Grasps actually do. Their benefit comes in two parts. They increase the radius of your duskfield grenade, and this will stack on top of the aspect Touch of Winter and will increase the stasis crystal generated in the centre to a large crystal. But the really great part is they also enable duskfield grenades to double up as either a damage resistance source or to reduce the damage of enemies within them. When standing in a duskfield grenade, you will gain a 25% resist to all incoming damage, whereas enemies inside the grenade will deal 50% less damage. And yeah, you can stack these too. And from this, how we are going to create a build becomes obvious. Spam duskfield grenades as much as possible and stack on all the additional damage resist and crowd control options available to Stasis to become unstoppable. Throwing a duskfield on top of a group of enemies and jumping into it will provide you the highest survivability available, despite being at very close range, making swords, shotguns, glaives, other close range options much more viable, even in harder content. Stasis, with its easy access to slow and freeze, also naturally counters overload and unstoppable champions. So if you throw on any anti-barrier weapon, you will have the anti-champion trifecta without too much effort. And on to key parts of a build, so here's the essentials. Obviously the duskfield grenade. If you're not using this, then I don't know what you're doing. The aspect Touch of Winter. This improves grenades greatly and generates a large stasis crystal. We will be making use of this with some of our fragments. Whisper of Chains is one of those fragments. Being within 10 meters of a stasis crystal or a frozen enemy grants an additional 40% damage resist. Whisper of Shards provides a 500% increase to grenade recharge rate after shattering a stasis crystal for 6 seconds. Whisper of Durance increases the time in which duskfield grenade is active, alongside any other slowing effect. A Demolitionist weapon for extremely easy grenade energy regen. I cannot suggest the Vow of a Disciple weapon deliverance enough for this. It can roll Demolitionist alongside Chill Clip and provides 20% grenade energy per kill, as it's a special weapon instead of the usual 10%. Outside of these options I've just listed, the build is pretty open to customization. Here's some options I've tried and had success with. In the energy slot you can actually run the exotic 4th Horseman. As previously mentioned, shotguns are quite effective and this is pretty much as shotgun as they come. But there's a right way to do this. Run it with the fragment Whisper of Impetus, which on powered melee hits reloads all weapons, and then perform this combo as follows. Empty your first mag, hit a powered melee. Empty your second mag, marksman dodge. Empty your third mag, hit a second powered melee, and then empty your fourth mag. If done correctly, this will be insane burst damage, and it's only from a special weapon. Of course, if you need to use an energy slot as an anti-barrier option, depending on what options are currently in the artifact, go for that. Another option, which is completely overkill, but is quite fun to use, is to run a Glaive and block while inside a duskfield grenade for insane damage reduction. I actually don't know if it's possible to die while doing this. With a heavy slot, if you have the cold comfort, it's going to be an excellent pick, especially if you're in a team setting alongside a Galahorn user. If you're lucky enough to land bait and switch with Envious Assassin, it's a top tier weapon to use just about anywhere. If you want more ad clear options, the Kingsfall LMG, Quillim's Terminus can roll with Headstone for excellent synergy with fragments Whisper of Chains and Whisper of Shards. And now looking over the remaining build options, I filled it in with the following. As a second aspect to pair with Whisper of Chains, I went with Grim Harvest. This will provide access to Stasis Shards upon defeating slowed enemies, which will be happening constantly. Fragments include the already covered Whisper of Chains, Whisper of Shards and Whisper of Durance. And for the final 2 slots, I went with Whisper of Torment for additional grenade regen when taking damage, and Whisper of Impetus for on-the-go weapon reloading when hitting a charged melee. Armor mods are also critical in making this build flow as fluidly as possible, and here is what you should go with. Note that as of recording this, I don't know what artifacts will be available in Season 22, and these could alter the mod slightly, but this is a pretty good baseline. So for the helmet slot, run Siphons for both Stasis and the element of your energy slot weapon. Armor charges will be used a lot, and this is one of the easiest ways to access them. The remaining slots can be used on either ammo finder mods or powerful friends. Glove slot, a combination of grenade kickstart and heavy handed. Grenade kickstart will allow for even more duskfield spam, and heavy handed will provide additional orbs of power on powered melee final blows. If either of these have their cost reduced, you can stack them times 2 for additional effect, otherwise slot in the loader mod or impact induction. The chest slot's pretty open. If an activity you're running has a lot of certain energy types, then slot in a resist to match. Running at least one copy of Stasis reserves will also help out the ammo economy a bunch. Charged up is another great option if you have leftover energy to spare. Leg slot has 2 ways to be built depending on your circumstance. For general gameplay, I recommend building for healing. We already have maximum damage resist, but no inbuilt way to heal. Running both recuperation and better already fixes this weak point very well. The remaining slot can be used on elemental charge, allowing for stasis shards to also provide stacks of armor charge. The second scenario is more for boss DPS. For this you can simply triple stack stasis weapon surge. Note that with this you will also want to remove grenade kickstart and replace him with stasis loaders. Finally, the class item slot. Powerful attraction is an excellent quality of life option to quickly gather orbs of power. And since we're running healing options, this will work as a pseudo wormhusk crown effect too. Reaper will make it so after performing a dodge, the next weapon kill will generate an additional orb of power. And finally, Bomber will allow that dodge to also return grenade energy. So that's a whole lot. Once the artifact mods are revealed, go with those which benefit Stasis. I can't say for sure, but I do have a feeling Stasis will be featured quite heavily next season. It's been due its time in the meta for a long while now, and surely we can't leave it waiting for much longer. Thank you for watching.